to this episode of Ask the Picture Framer. My name is Myrna Dow, owner of High Desert Gallery and professional picture framer. Today we're going to talk about something very dear to my heart that I love, and that's picture framing. So hey, let's get started and see what we have to look at. Hello, today we're going to talk about preservation framing, also known as conservation framing. I've selected this great new piece by Patricia Freeman Martin from her Trick Writer series. It's a monotype and just a fabulous piece. Very subtle colors, so sometimes that can be kind of a trick, no pun intended, to work with on framing. Let's go ahead and look at this piece. It's a paper piece, so it's extremely important that we protect this piece in the framing package, and we're going to talk about that. I have many customers that are wondering why we need to use glass and why we need to use certain products. Well, it's very important because if you want this piece to last you a long time, more than 1 year or 2 years, maybe even have it be a piece that you'd like to pass down from generation to generation, we can protect that piece so you're going to be able to do that. The components are varied that we're going to talk about, and I'm not going to get into a lot of detail because I could talk to you for many, many hours and bore you to tears after a long time with all the knowledge and fun I have with picture framing, but today we're going to narrow it down just a little bit. Give you a brief overview so that you have a good idea of what you can take to your picture framer or take to High Desert Gallery and work with as far as ideas, designs, understanding of the components and how they can all work together. Okay, first we're going to start with what surrounds your piece of artwork. There's a number of different products out there, and right now we're not going to really talk about color. I've picked out some colors, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. The most important thing is what you're going to be putting around your piece. And that paper needs to be a mat board. And it can be a rag mat, which we have here by Crescent, or we can use an alpha cellulose mat. Both have protective properties, and they will ensure that your piece does not get burned and damaged over time. There's a million different color combinations that we can come up with and selections, and we'll look at color in just a little bit, but just basically what you want to do is start with an acid-free product so that your artwork does not get damaged. You'll have a backing that can be a mat board of the same substance, or you could use an archival foam board. Both are appropriate depending on the level of conservation that you need for your piece. A museum quality piece, you might want to go and use just everything the very best. A piece that maybe isn't for the museum and you want to last for a long time, you can still use a lot of different products. I get this statement often, and sometimes it turns into a question, but the statement typically is, I don't know anything about picture framing, so I have no idea what to do. Well, that's when you can take what we're going to talk about and take that to your picture framer or to High Desert Gallery, and then have a little bit of knowledge so you feel a little more comfortable about talking about framing and your selections. We discussed a little bit about the mat board and the backing, your hinges and how your piece is attached to that mat board needs to be 100% reversible. That means no dry mounting, which permanently adheres your piece to a piece of foam board forever. It can never be removed. No bad glues, no tapes, no duct tape, things of that nature. You want to use really good quality reversible items. There's many things that can be discussed and talked about. We use hinges that go at the top, positioned properly. We use different kind of mounts for different kind of pieces. We can use corner supports, we can use edge supports. There's a lot of choices in that area. But you do want something that is 100% reversible And that is a major important factor of conservation framing. You need to put glazing, which is glass or plexiglass, on top of that surface. A paper product will not withstand the elements. Basically, we do preservation framing to protect your piece of artwork. A lot of people think about framing and it's all about the design and the color and how it's going to look above the couch or in the house. But the first and foremost important factor is protecting that piece of artwork from the elements. You protect it from pollutants, you protect it from light, you protect it from insects, dust, all these different items. The glazing is extremely important because you're going to want to protect that piece of artwork from the front. We have some really great materials now, and we primarily use, I think we 99.9% use glass that has UV protection in it. Basically, you can think about UV, and that's like us wearing sunscreen. And we still don't want to be out in the sun, you know, for a long period of time, or even, you know, direct sunlight. But it just helps give us that little layer of protection, and that's what UV glass will do. There's different levels of the glass. You can, as Todd was just indicating to you, you can see one has a little more glare, one is a little more anti-reflective. They have some great qualities as far as glazing are concerned. For pieces that might be in a child's room or very large pieces, we can use a plexiglass. And that is basically a plastic looking type substance that isn't going to shatter if it's dropped on its corner. It might get a little crack, but it's not going to damage into the piece. So there's many different options as far as glazing is concerned, but you definitely want glazing on something that is made of paper. You also want to have a space between the glazing and your paper product, and that is very important, and we do that so that your piece will not get damaged if you had any condensation in the home. Glass does not work real well changing from a cold to a warm environment. You can get condensation on the inside very fast from that. And so that's extremely important. You don't want that moisture on your piece of artwork. So basically, we're going to just give a brief overview. The reason we do picture framing and conservation framing is to protect your piece for as long as you would like to have that piece and possibly pass it down to future generations. Then we get to do the fun part of selecting colors and frames, and then the best part is when you get to put this piece on your wall and enjoy it for many years.